Hello, today I'll be showing you how to make a simple form of Caesar encryption and decryption in Scratch or Byob. By that I mean Caesar shift encryption. Okay, so first of all I condensed these all into blocks. If you want to know how to do that, it's very simple. Just come to variables at the bottom here, make a block. Choose wherever you want to make it. Okay, so onto the coding. Now I'll be explaining this coding step by step and how and why it works. If you have any questions, just send a message and I'll try to reply. And it's actually very simple to do something like this, so I don't think you'll have any. You only need a few variables. You need your alphabet, a simple string, A to Z. You need the cipher level or shift level. That's how many letters it moves up. And the text. And of course the message. And a few other things which I'll explain as we go. So basically in Caesar encryption, Caesar shift encryption, they move the letter up a few according to whatever the level is. So if I had a Caesar shift encryption of 3 and I had the letter A would become D, B would become E, Z would become C, and so on and so forth, whichever letters you choose. So the way this encryption works, it encrypts letter by letter to change each one as you go. I use counter over here to determine which letter of the message we're on, and letter counter over here to determine versus the alphabet. So to begin, we start off, make it letter 1. We set go to 0, and I'll explain the function of go in a second, and letter counter to 1, since each loop we're starting at A to check up to Z. So here is where we do all the actual checking. If the letter counter of answer, so in this case letter 1 of the answer versus letter 1 of the alphabet. So if the message was hello, it would check, is H equal to A? No, it isn't. Then it would add 1 to letter counter and carry on. Is H equal to B? Is H equal to H? It will eventually get to, in which case it will do the Caesar shift encryption. And that I'll explain in one more second. This whole loop of changing letter by letter will obviously have to be repeated the length of the answer. So to do the actual encryption, all you need to do is subtract the cipher level, add the cipher level to the letter counter. So it's letter counter plus cipher level, so A, which is 1, plus 3 becomes 4, which is D. However, I did add in a bit of extra coding for a possible exception, and that exception is if your letter counter plus your cipher level is equal to 26. When divided by 26, the remainder will be 0, and that isn't part of our alphabet since Scratch and Byob work with the first letter being 1. So to fix that, you just add the cipher level and then subtract 1 from all of that. Then take mod 26 plus 1, so it would become Z instead. And here, once it manages to make it to here, it will set go to 1, so thereby ending this loop. If this didn't work, for example if you entered a space or a special character, then letter counter would obviously hit more than 26, and go would not be set to 1, which would mean it'd go here, and all that this does is it replaces with that special character very nicely. And then after that, I use finished text for aesthetics. Over there I just have finished text instead of text, where it would show letter by letter, which would be a bit ugly. And here I'll show you how it works. Caesar encryption and decryption. You would choose a cipher level, let's say 5, message hello MJQQT. Then for decryption, you'd have to know the cipher level, and of course the message which you put in, and gives you back your message. Decryption, pretty much the same as encryption, actually the exact same except for here, where you subtract by the cipher level plus 1, by that it's just a mistake in my ordering, it should be letter counter minus cipher level minus 1, but yeah. It still works like this, and exactly the same other coding. Oh, of course, replacing like that. Well, that's it for Caesar encryption and decryption. I'd recommend trying it for yourself. It's very simple. Also, if you want a more advanced form of encryption, I'd recommend Vignere encryption, or Vigner, or however it's pronounced, encryption. Because as you can see, in Caesar encryption there are some very obvious tells. For example, in this message alone, there's this QQ here appearing for the LL. And in Vignere, that might not happen if you had pre-shared key, or whatever key you want. And then let me type in a message holding a whole string of E's. And you can see that most of them come out differently, which can still be decrypted. So you can Google these, find out about yourself. They're very nice and simple forms of encryption, easy to code in Byob or Scratch. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, whatever you want.